My baby was breached and I did not know what to do. We tried everything, but nothing worked. I was like, okay, what's going on? What's the problem here? Is there a problem? Just imagine thinking you had weeks left to see your baby and the doctor comes and says you're meeting your baby now, today. That's exactly what happened to us. After everything I've been through, I just wanted my baby out, like immediately. My journey to being a mom was a movie, so let's get right into it. Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. It's been over a year since I last posted a video. I can't believe it's been that long. But thank you guys for sticking with me and all the love in my previous video. Thank you guys. You guys don't know how much it means to me. I also want to use this moment to thank some of my friends and subscribers who reached out to me during the time I was off YouTube just to check up on me and find out how I was doing. You guys, I love you. Thank you so much for checking up on me. I'm doing fine. I was going through a lot. With pregnancy, but it was a good thing, so nothing bad or anything like that. Yeah, so thank you so much. I'm a mom to a beautiful boy. He's currently 10 months and some days old. Actually, he's almost 11 months old. And today I'll be sharing my real and raw pregnancy journey and birth story with you guys, from trying for a baby, getting pregnant, dealing with fibroids in pregnancy, and all the unexpected twists along the way. This is a story I never thought I was going to share, but I just thank God that I am in this position to share this story. And I just want to say that to anyone watching me that is believing God for her own miracle, in Jesus' name I pray that you will receive your bundle of joy, your bundles of joy according to your prayers, in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. I thank God for my miracle baby CJ. Last year I was 3 years into marriage as at the time, but I'm currently 4 years into marriage now. But when we were trying for a baby, like most newlyweds, we did not plan to get pregnant immediately. However, we had a few hiccups along the way. That is another story for another day. We had some losses, and at that point, I think after like the second one, I started getting anxious. I started getting really, really anxious, guys. I was like, okay, what's going on? What's the problem here? Is there a problem? Is something going on that I don't know what's so, and it was not funny then, please don't get me wrong, it wasn't funny. I'm laughing now because I'm over it, I'm out of that phase in my life, but it was not funny then, guys. After the 2 losses, I think 2023 was when I finally said, okay, now I think I need to focus on trying for a baby. I did not know it was so difficult trying for a baby. Whew, it was a lot. We fasted, we prayed, I did a couple of hallelujah challenges, I did a lot of things. I distinctly remember coming back from work one day. I was coming back from the train station, coming home, and I was crying on the way home. And I had this conversation with God. I told him that I wanted all glory to go to his name, because at that point I was getting so anxious, and I was already telling my husband that should we go to the hospital and try for like IVFs and just things like that, that even though I did not need them, like my kids, I didn't need them, but I was getting so anxious. And I just had that conversation with God. So as I was saying, I remember just having that conversation with God, praying, telling him I wanted all glory to go to his name. I did not want to have to praise a doctor for giving me my babies. I wanted my babies to come naturally and as painless as possible. And I just thank God for his mercies, because that was my story. He literally heard me, and February 10th, 2024, I found out I was pregnant, and that was one of the best days of my life. That was, in fact. And I remember I was currently, I think that period, Hallelujah Challenge was ongoing. I had my Dress Like a Miracle testimony. I didn't even know that I was already pregnant. I dressed like my miracle. I stuffed my stomach with, stuff, carried a baby, and I was just dancing around the house. And guys, that very same day, I went upstairs. I was like, I've not seen my period for like 2 days. What's going on? And then I checked, and oh my gosh, like that feeling. You know, after you've spent months checking and you just keep saying single lines, not pregnant, not pregnant, and then you just find that one and it's pregnant. Oh my gosh. That was one of the best days of my life. I ran downstairs. I told Coin. Coin was so happy. We were so happy, but at the same time, I was very nervous because of, like I said, I've had previous losses before. And, you know, I would just feel with so much anxiety. And immediately we told close family members, and shout out to my family and everyone and close friends that assisted us with prayers. We got into prayer mode immediately. First trimester was like this tight ball of anxiety for me. I just wanted to get past the first 12 weeks of this pregnancy. I was just praying. I was praying. And when I had the implantation bleeding, I ran to the hospital. They checked me. They told me everything was fine. And sometimes when I felt like I needed to do a scan, I would book private scans. I booked private scans just because I wanted to make sure that everything was fine in there, that TJ was fine. We went through the first few weeks being anxious, and finally the doctors confirmed that the pregnancy was viable. And oh my gosh, you guys, get yourself a good support system. There's nothing like having good people in your corner, nothing like having prayerful people in your corner, nothing like having a good support system in your husband. There's nothing like it. Trust me. I think some of the symptoms I had in my first trimester, guys, I have my notes here, so I might be looking down. I had implantation cramping first trimester. I had nausea. Oh my goodness, you guys, I had so much. It was terrible. Morning sickness feels really terrible. The best way to explain this to someone that hasn't felt it before is like feeling really sick from the inside. It feels like you want to throw up constantly. Like, you know that feeling of when you're just about to throw up? That sick feeling, you feel it throughout the day constantly. So I had headaches all day that paracetamol was not solving, because while you're pregnant, paracetamol is the only painkillers that you can have. At least for me, that was the only painkillers I could take. The headaches were not going. I was peeing a lot and I had nausea. I could barely work. I was going through it all. I had heartburn, severe heartburns, and I was always cold. I had a persistent cold throughout as well, and that was just, you know, crazy. And then there was also something I had, round ligament pain, and this started at about 14 weeks of pregnancy. I had painful boobs as well. So my boobs started aching me at first trimester as well. In my first trimester, I also joined an online birth community, Birth Safe. You guys, I'm going to leave their information in the description box below. This is not sponsored in any ways, but this online antenatal care was 100 over 100 for me. It made me learn a lot about pregnancy, about how to take care of my pregnancy, about communicating with your baby, because guys, you can actually communicate with your baby while your baby is still in your stomach. It taught me so much, so much, and I cannot recommend them enough. So please, if you're pregnant or you know anyone that's going to be pregnant or you're going to be pregnant soon, please share this community with them, because it really helped me. It helped me to the point that I would go for my antenatal or for my doctor appointments, and the kind of questions I was asking, all my doctors would ask me, am I in the medical field? Hello. So yeah, I was asked a lot of times, how do you know this? How do you know this? Are you in the medical field? Are you a doctor? Are you a nurse? And I'm like, nope, I'm a software engineer. And then they follow up with, oh, you read a lot, right? I just tell them, yes, I read a lot. But guys, Birth Safe made me understand, you know, a woman's body, how it should function, the nutrients that you need to take in for you to have a good and healthy pregnancy. So guys, please follow them. And yeah, moving to second trimester, things started to ease up a bit, but then that was when the fibroids I have started acting up. I started having a lot of contractions. I got really scared once again. I went in for some private scans because you can't just book scans on the NHS. I would go, they would tell me my cervix was closed, that I had nothing to worry about. But then sometimes I would see bleeding as well. I would experience bleeding or spotting and cramping, like I said, and I would go back then again and they would check, they'll say everything is fine. When I got to week 20, we then found out about the gender. I had a little bit of gender reveal, but like I said, because this pregnancy, I was just, anxious about the pregnancy. We didn't want anything that was going to stress me physically, and so we had a gender reveal online with our family and very close friends. I would share that video later with you guys. So we had our gender reveal online. It was just really intimate and really private. And then at week 21, I started experiencing wrist pain. And at the time, I thought it was what is called mommy's wrist, but finding out more, it ended up being the quavine tenosynovitis. I think I'm going to leave it on the screen. It ended up being that, and it's moved from the left wrist to the right wrist. And that was really painful because I couldn't do anything with my hands. I couldn't move my hands. It was a lot of pain, guys, and I ended up getting a surgery for it. I believe I posted it online, and I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the scar from the surgery. The right wrist kind of stopped aching me, so I didn't need to get surgery for that one, but this one was terrible. Like, the left wrist was terrible, so I had to get surgery for that done. I started experiencing back pains, terrible back pains at week 24. Sometimes I got blurry vision and my navel started to bulge out at week 25. I had a nosebleed at week 27 and 5 days. You guys, I took note of everything. I had cramps and pain, Braxton Hicks at 28 weeks. You guys, I started seeing some gray hairs. I started seeing some gray hairs, guys. Yeah, pregnancy will do that to you. Also had what is called lightning crotch, but that's another story for another day. And I would say, guys, dealing with fibroids as a Black woman in the UK is an extreme sport. Like, most of the time, like, I wasn't taken seriously. Sometimes I would go there, I would tell them that I'm contracting. They would put me on these machines and actually, verify that I was contracting. But guess what they would send? They would just give me codeine, which is like a painkiller. That was just what they would give me home. They wouldn't give me any tocolytic or anything that would actually stop the contraction. They would just give me painkillers, guys. How in fact, I don't know what to say. But one thing I would say, ladies, is you have to advocate for yourself. You have to learn to advocate for yourself. Advocate for your baby. Learn how to communicate with your baby, because when you communicate with your baby is going to tell you if something is right or if something is wrong. Your baby is going to tell you. I cannot count the number of times we went into the hospital, even at 2 a.m. because, I was that kind of pregnant lady. I went into the hospital at 16 weeks, 24, 28 weeks, and even up to the day TJ came. I was always going to the hospital. If I had any slight hiccup like this, hospital. Any slight thing, hospital. At some point, when I went from the early pregnancy unit, I went into triage. At some point, when I call on the phone and I'm giving my details, they'll be like, "Oh, Chidinma, right? Chidinma, yes, just come." They already knew me there already, because I was always showing up. At some point, the midwives were tired of me, but they were so lovely. They were so lovely. Thank you to the hospital that took care of me. You guys are amazing. So fast forward to the beginning of my week 38. I think this was on a Wednesday. I had my midwife appointment. Beautiful and amazing lady. Shout out to you. She was amazing. And she assured me that baby was in position, baby was engaged. Baby's back was on my right hand side, and she said baby could easily slip into the posterior position. So she recommended me to do some exercise like all fours, things things like that to get baby to turn. I think baby's back should be opposite from my back. So I did the exercises she recommended, only for me to go for my follow-up scan that was scheduled for Friday, and I was told baby was breached. You guys, tell me how from being engaged head down, baby became breached. Oh my god. And doctors don't like birthing breached babies because of all the complications that could arise, and I was told that there were no specialists on site that would be able to birth a breached baby for me. And so I was given some options. I was given like a leaflet to read through about my options and what I could consider doing, but then I was also asked to go back over the weekend and try, you know, those exercises again, see if they would work, and come back on Monday for a follow-up scan. And some of the options that I was given was to try an ECV. So this is external cephalic version, and this is from Google, by the way. So an ECV is a medical procedure to manually turn a breech baby, bottom of it first, to a head down cephalic position in late pregnancy. So this is like literally where the doctor would come and, you know, turn the baby physically, like turn it on your stomach, and it's usually quite painful. However, the reason why I decided not to go for that is it had some risk involved. So the first risk was the baby could turn back. So even if the maneuver was successful, TJ could just decide to turn back into the same position, the breached position, and I would have gone through all that pain for nothing. And the second risk involved is baby could decide, okay, I'm coming now, like I'm coming immediately, and that would just mean an emergency C-section. And so the doctor, when we went back on Monday and I was scanned again, TJ was still breached, and you know, the doctor said, okay, so what's my decision? Do I want to do ECV or go for a C-section, a planned C-section? And I decided to go for the planned C-section, right? The next thing then was for them to find me an appointment for my C-section, correct? No, these people decided to keep me waiting. They waited for like, I think 4 days, and I kept on calling them that I haven't gotten a date for my C-section. I haven't gotten a date for my C-section, because it would be an emergency if I had gone into labor and baby was breached. So the idea was for me to do the C-section before TJ decided to come. However, I had not been given any dates for the C-section. So I kept on calling them, and they were not getting back to me. Nothing was being done, literally. So I think when I was 38 weeks, 5 days, and I believe this was on the Thursday. Remember, we went on Monday for the scan and TJ was still breached. So by Thursday, I started having contractions again. And I initially thought, okay, maybe this is the usual fibroid contractions. Remember the contractions I used to have? So I said, it's normal. There's no need to go to the hospital. And funny enough, my husband was meant to go to the office that day, and so I had a chiropractor appointment. I mentioned that I was having back pain and hip pains that I developed, I think, from 28 weeks. I had really crazy hip pain, so I was regularly seeing a chiropractor to help relieve those pains. And so that Thursday I had an appointment with my chiropractor, and I was telling my husband that, you know what, don't worry, go to the office. I would go to the chiropractor appointment by myself. Like, it's just, let him just come and touch my back and press wherever needs to be pressed, and the pain will go away. So I did mention that I was having like contractions, but I just thought it was the usual contraction, so like no big deal. And on second thoughts, my husband was like, he's going to follow me for the chiropractor appointment, that something just told him to follow me, and so we decided to go together for the chiropractor appointment. I saw the chiropractor. He worked his magic, did whatever he did, and the hospital was like, I think 5 minutes away from the chiropractor's office. And my husband said, you know what, let's just go in. Like I said, I was always going into the hospital for whatever reason, and he said, let's just go to triage, and they should just check me out and make sure that everything is fine. And honestly, I was skeptical. I did not want to go because I knew they would just give me codeine. I have so much codeine in the house. I was like, I know they would just give me codeine again, and I was not in the mood for their shenanigans. But anyways, I decided to go. Also, we had our hospital bags packed already, so we went into the hospital. I was strapped to those machines, and it was confirmed that I was contracting, but you know, they checked my cervix. My cervix was still closed tight, so I was not in labor, but I was just contracting the regular contractions like I thought, you know. And then the attending doctor came in. You guys, you know those stories that people say when they walk into the hospital and they walked out with their baby like unexpectedly? That was me, because I was just strolling. I just carried myself and strolled into the hospital like, oh my gosh, like we're gonna be out in like 5 minutes or something like that. We strolled in and they strapped the machines on me. They checked baby's heart rate. And when the attending doctor came, she just came in and she's like, you're not in labor. However, because I'm contracting and while like they can still control the situation, they wanted to do a C-section. And I was like, yeah, fine. We're supposed to schedule a C-section anyway. What day should we come back? And she's like, in the next 1 hour. I said, what? I'm meeting my baby now, like in the next 1 hour? Are you serious? I looked at my husband and we just looked at each other like, are you ready? Are you ready for this? You know, and
2 hours.
yeah, like
It'll be less than
you
2
know, they
hours.
asked me when was the last time I ate, told me not to eat anything, and you know, preparation started for the C-section. I called my mom, I called my family, I told them that, guys, this is what is happening. You know, baby is coming today, like now, and everyone went into prayer mode again. I was prepped for surgery, and you know, like one moment I thought I had time, and the next moment I just saw myself getting prepped for surgery, and we decided to go along with it just because we did not want any complications, because baby was breached anyways and I was already waiting for like a C-section date. So I think at that point I was kind of ready for because I just wanted my baby out now. I just wanted him out immediately. I did not want to hear any stories. I did not want to hear any stories, guys. And that was it. Like we walked into the hospital, I think around maybe 12 noon. By 3 p.m. TJ was in my arms, guys. Oh my gosh. It was so amazing. But then, let's talk about the C-section. So I was wheeled into the theater and I was given a spinal, which is this really long needle that goes into the spine. I think the space between the spine, whatever. I would say that was single-handedly one of the most painful experiences I've had. You know, that's receiving the spinal was so painful. And the funny thing is, the doctors will tell you to bend like this, and they will put the spinal at your back. And you know the funny thing, they'll tell you not to move. Like, how can you be putting something that long and painful in my back, and you tell me not to move? Like, how is that possible? Oh my God, guys, that was the hardest part for me. And then I was numbed from stomach down. I couldn't feel anything. And when the C-section started, I remember telling my husband, because Coin was in the operating room with me, and I remember telling him that I don't think they've started. And he was like, nope, they've started. They've definitely started. Because I couldn't feel anything. And then suddenly I started feeling tugging and push and pulls. Like I was just feeling pulls. And that was when I started feeling really breathless. And that was scary for me because I couldn't breathe. I started breathing through my mouth, and but my blood pressure was okay. But I just started breathing through my mouth because I couldn't get enough air to my nostrils. I don't know how long, but soon I just had heard him crying, and they brought him to me, and that was you know that feeling when you finally meet the person that you know you've been growing in your body for like past 38 plus weeks. You finally meet. So this is you that you've been kicking me. This is you that you've been turning in my stomach like this, pushing and kicking, and you know, like it was such an amazing feeling for me, like just carrying him for the first time. It was amazing. I want to also mention that for me, throughout the whole pregnancy, what was the most important to me was healthy mom, healthy baby. Because I know some people might want to type rubbish in the comment section about, oh, why did you choose C-section? Yeah, oh, this one. We don't do that here, okay? For me, I just wanted a healthy baby, and I wanted myself to be healthy. Any other thing outside from these two parameters count me out, okay? And so that was the reason why we decided to go for the C-section anyways. So that's it, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, or if you want me to do like a Q&A, or if there's anything I've missed, just type it in the comment section and let me know. And also, if you guys want like my C-section recovery process and how I've recovered, you guys let me know as well. I had TJ on a Thursday, and we stayed in the hospital Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? And Sunday we were back in the house. The reason we left actually was no reason particularly. I just really needed to like rest from the surgery because it's a major surgery after all. And something else that was painful, guys. Don't say I did not tell you. Something else that was painful was my first pee. Oh, that was painful. Super painful, guys. So I had this catheter inserted into me, so just draining my bladder, seamless, like child's play. And then they took out the catheter and it was time for me to pee by myself, and I did not realize how much pee I had. And that is the worst thing you want to have, having a full bladder when you've just had a C-section, because the bladder would press against C-section side. So I got up and oh my gosh, the walk, my bed was literally beside the restroom door, like in the ward I was in, and that walk from my bed to the door was hell. It was hell. That's the only way I would explain it. It's even worse than the spinal injection. It was worse than that, because tell me why I was crying. I had not even cried throughout the whole C-section because I think I have a high threshold for pain. I did not cry, but you see that walk to the restroom, I cried. I was crying. I was bawling my eyes out. When it was time to pee, I was crying. Oh my God, it was so painful. I'm laughing now, but it was not funny. It was not funny. Don't say I not tell you. Don't say I not tell you. But yeah, you guys, don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say it though, because that shit was painful. That the first pee was very painful. The nurses, the midwives were amazing, amazing, amazing. From teaching me how to make baby latch, to advising on breastfeeding, on nutritious food I should be eating, resting, they were amazing. At some point in the night when I couldn't sleep because TJ was, I was still new to this whole thing, they offered to carry TJ like away from us and all the other moms in the ward. They took all the babies outside to like just took care of the babies and allowed all the moms to recover, to just sleep. Actually, it was quite chilled. The reason I decided to leave the hospital was, apart from I was already feeling better, the other new babies were crying. TJ was not a crying baby. In fact, TJ was just a very good baby. Not then, no, not now. TJ cries now. But as a newborn, he did not cry a lot. So all the other babies' cries would wake him up. So he was not having a good sleep because of them. And so I just told Coin that, you know what, let's just go home. There's no point being here and this, disturbing our baby's sleep and disturbing my sleep as well, because when I'm finally trying to sleep, their cries would wake me up. So it was just best that we go home. Looking back, every struggle, prayer, cries was just bringing us to this beautiful moment, having our baby, our son, TJ soon in our arms. Like, you guys, my baby is so handsome. He's so fine. You say, why is it important to marry a fine man? Or at least you yourself be fine. Because he's so fine. I just thank God. He's a good baby. He smiles a lot. He laughs. I love his deep laugh sometimes. It's just amazing. Guys, if you are on your pregnancy journey and you have questions, shoot me a DM, okay? Because at this point, I'm not a doctor, but I know one or two things. I know one or two things about pregnancy now. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like this video, comment, and share with anyone that you know would be useful for them. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and join the fam. I would see you in my next video. Bye guys.